Suso, tira Alessio, Suso, tira, perché non tiriamo? Ma perché non tiriamo? Goal! Alessio Romagnoli, goal! Alessio...
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan Podcast. I'm your host, Ollie Fisher. You can find me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher. Would normally say joined by Anthony Torgroove, but he can't make it this week. But joined by Madison.
I'm having extreme deja vu right now. I feel like we did this 15 minutes ago, but it's, you guys can go ahead and
10 minutes ago, but yeah.
you guys can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Madison_DT.
And we've also got Maxi with us for the second time in 3 weeks. It's a pleasure to have you back, mate.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, excellent. What Maddie was alluding to is that we've already tried this once and everything crashed. You know, this is the problem with the Michigan to England to Sweden
Connection.
But it seems to be more stable now, so fingers crossed we can get through everything. Start with this every week. How's lockdown going for you boys?
I shaved my face.
Did you? Very nice.
Yeah, wild, right?
Yeah. I thought we had your younger brother on instead of you.
No.
I was saying to Madison before that I've known him for 3 years, but I've never seen him without a beard.
I've seen him without a beard and with a mustache, and that is arguably even worse. But he also does look like a sort of 19th century English, I don't know, relative of royalty with the suit and the pipe and everything. It is quite good.
That's exactly what I'm bringing back. Let me see if I can get a picture of it.
Yeah, you look for a picture because people need to see this. It is really, really good. Excellent. Like, that is...
Yeah.
There's some body to that, you know what I mean?
That deserves an applause.
I think you should do that. I think between now and the end of lockdown, just grow the mustache.
Well, I had a shave, so the entire thing would grow out evenly, and then I shave everything but the mustache.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'd love to be able to grow something like that, but baby face and all that. So no football to talk about. No.
I would like to start that Liverpool are still not Premier League champions.
He's right. I mean, he is right. It's not done and dusted just yet, mate. This is funny now. It is getting funny because it wasn't really discussed as a possibility at first that the season would be cancelled. It was always very much we will find a period of 2 months to get these games in, and then we'll see what the effect of that is on the future and on next season, on the transfer window, etc. People are realising now it would be naive to think that we're going to start playing football again before even July. And that is, problems come then because it has such a big effect on whatever next season might look like. If we're thinking about then potentially starting the next season 1 or 2 months late, it's going to be difficult even to start it a month late because you'd have another full season to fit in before the Euros, which is scheduled for 2021, and they're not moving again, especially with 22 being a World Cup year. So yeah, it is a really difficult situation we're looking at. I mean, I've lost count of the amount of articles I've written regarding what the calendar might look like, and if we start in late May, then we'll end it in end of June or whatever, and it's like, I think there needs to be an element of realism, especially given the fact that not only the players not training, but a lot of them aren't even in Italy or in Milan. In our case, I think Leao and Ibrahimovic are both in Portugal and Sweden, respectively.
Yeah.
And it's hard because then you've got to get the players back to base. You can't tell them to come straight in on their first day. And then they're probably going to need a month of training. It's going to need to be another mini pre-season because you can't then tell players, right, we're going to be playing every 3 days to get this season finished when they've not really been in match mode for what will be 3 or 4 months by then, maybe more. There'll be so many pulled muscles and, various injuries that will come up if they don't. If they
I
send
think
the
you
players
just
back
have to
out there.
scrap it. Like, you just have to bite the bullet, bite the revenue loss, and pull the plug.
Yeah, but I feel like for Premier League, it's such a significant amount of money that will be lost.
Yeah, but what's more important, the money or the players' health?
Yeah, definitely.
Players are what bring you the
health.
money.
But I've read too some articles saying that not many clubs want to avoid the season
Yeah, I don't think they do. You know, I've seen something about Burnley, who have been in the Premier League for 6 years now, saying that if the rest of the season were to be voided and they were to miss out on all that match day revenue and the TV rights revenue and everything that comes with it, then they'd go under. And that's an established Premier League club that are not known for spending big money. You know, I think if someone like a West Ham, if you say that to me, you know, West Ham might go under. I think, yeah, they spend way too much money on players.
I also wouldn't care if West Ham went under.
Don't be harsh to West Ham. I like West Ham.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That's unfortunate.
Now's probably time to ask the Ramadan Sobi question. So we got a question while we're on the irrelevant stuff from Corona 96. I don't know if that's anything to do with the coronavirus, but as a terrier, speaking to me as a Huddersfield Town fan, terriers are our nickname. What do you think about Ramadan Sobi? I was thinking some Egyptian talent like him and Aston Villa's Trezeguet, should move to Italy like Mo Salah did. So Ramadan Sobi, for those who don't know, he's a young, still is young. I mean, he's not obviously as young as he was when he burst onto the scene with Stoke, but Stoke got relegated. Huddersfield stayed up. Basically, we signed him for about 5 million, which was a lot of money for someone who wasn't really, you know, known for getting goals, assists, etc. Barely got a look in for us. Didn't play much that season. We loaned him then to an Egyptian club. I think it was Al Ahly, and I didn't realise until a couple of days ago when the club tweeted about him that he was actually still our player. So it sounds like he's been mismanaged a little bit. You know, it's hard. We can't really put it into perspective, but players in Egypt, I guess this maybe extends to the whole of North Africa, perhaps the whole continent of Africa. Players that come from those particular countries and make it big in a European league, especially the Premier League, just have this ridiculous profile. Like Ramadan Sobi has more Twitter followers than Huddersfield as a club. Like, you know, that we were like, oh, why are we signing this guy and stuff like that? And I'm thinking, is this all a PR, like marketing exercise? Try sell shirts there and stuff. He looked really good in the first pre-season. I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but I went over to Austria to watch us in pre-season, and in that particular pre-season, we played Bologna and won 2-1 with a last-minute header. That was when I got a picture with Andrea Poli while he was in an ice, basically a bin full of ice. That was quite good. And then we also played Red Bull Leipzig and beat them 3-0. And they played Werner, they played Poulsen, they played Kevin Campbell, Upamecano played. They played a really strong team, and we just played them off the park. And Sobi played in that and looked really good. So I had high hopes for him, and it just hasn't worked out. So I guess the short answer to that long rant is, yeah, if he needs a change of scenery to reboot his career. And I think that applies to a lot of players in the Premier League, you know, who are happy to sit as the third choice winger, let's say, and pick up the big paycheck that they've got, or they go abroad like Salah did to prove themselves, and then go back to somewhere where they essentially just, you know, explode, really.
Yeah,
that was good. Nice little rant about Huddersfield. So I guess we're back to the thing of not knowing when the season's going to start again. So bit of paper speculation and all that. The Rangnick stuff's still doing the rounds as we expected. We had a good exclusive from Vita. Well, say good exclusive. They're all absolute gold dust. This one in particular was a good exclusive. He was the first to say around about, I can't remember, but about 5 days ago now, that we've not stopped speaking to Ralph Rangnick, and that, you know, it's not as nailed on as it was, but it's certainly still not excluded. Essentially implying that a lot depends on what the situation is with COVID-19 and how quickly things get back to normal, whatever normal is. So that was interesting. And then, of course, a couple of days later, Gazzetta dello Sport were like, Milan's still talking to Rangnick. They've guaranteed him this amount of budget. That particular part was interesting because it said, we can still give him money, but we can't give him the 100 million that we were going to. We can now give him 75 million. Matty, do you reckon 75 million without including the money that we would get from sales, is enough to do a decent overhaul job on this team.
Is that including a salary cap?
Let's say yes, but let's say it's like 3.5 million. And there are set to be exclusions to that.
Then yes, it is. I think Rangnick can do it because you know that one or two big name players is going to get sold, whether it be Romagnoli, Donnarumma, or Teo Hernandez. Hopefully it's not Teo Hernandez or Donnarumma. Romagnoli can leave for the right price.
I might edit that and just have that clip as the teaser. Romagnoli can leave.
No, I think that he's done enough finding great talent before they've emerged that he can do that while bringing in some top players like Timo Werner or whatever his name is from. Yeah, I mean, why would he go to Liverpool when he can come to AC Milan?
Well, actually, I'll go to you now, Maxi. This was an interesting link that came up. I knew it would happen eventually. I knew it would happen because we seem to have been linked with all of the sort of Rangnick signings that have gone on to be, most of them have gone on to be good at varying levels. And some of them, the likes of Naby Keita, however you say it, Sadio Mane, others have ended up at a top club, really. And then, it came about that apparently we want Timo Werner, and that we might be able to put Hakan Çalhanoğlu in a swap deal. Now, that to me is like Football Manager or FIFA or something. Where you're like, I'm going to do this, and there is absolutely no downside to this. Even if it costs me Çalhanoğlu plus 30 mil, I'm doing this because it would improve us so much. Obviously, Werner's been linked extensively with Liverpool.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Do you think, was you got that he'd be a better fit for Liverpool than us? Do you think that we don't have the money to do it?
I think we would have the money to do it, and if he went to Milan, he would definitely have a guaranteed starting spot and more regular minutes. But at the same time, I don't think that he wants to do it because he's been pretty outspoken about wanting to take the next step, and at this point Milan is not a step over Leipzig, and he's also been very fond of Klopp, so I think that he personally wants to go to Liverpool, or maybe not Liverpool, but the Premier League. He's been outspoken about wanting to go there as well. But yeah, that would be a mind-blowingly good deal if we sent Hakan to Leipzig and got Timo Werner.
Yeah, that would be good.
I can kind of agree with that, though. I mean, going to Milan at this stage of his career is not a step up, and most players at his age and skill level want to step up. He would be challenging himself at Milan, but I don't think that he would be challenging himself playing against the world's best.
Yeah, and I feel like as well, another thing as well that I've thought many times when I read my timeline on Twitter is like, as Milanisti, we have to accept where we are now. We're not like the world's biggest club anymore. We have to act smart. Like, for example, Liverpool. When Klopp took over, they didn't sign any star players. They signed players who are on the verge of becoming star players, and that is what Milan have to do now. We can't expect star signings because our club doesn't have that status in Europe anymore. So we have to act smart and make star players instead of sign them.
But also, when you do that, like for instance, Bakayoko could be a star. You sign him on a year loan and then you let him leave. That's not the right.
No, definitely.
No, I think we would have signed Bakayoko on a permanent deal for what it's worth if there hadn't been such an upheaval in the management with Gattuso leaving and Leonardo leaving. I think there was just frankly a little bit too much uncertainty knocking around because Chelsea wouldn't have known who they were negotiating with for that permanent deal, even though it was already pre-arranged, etc. There would have been a contract to sort and everything. But I agree that, you know, Milan fans, as I've said many times on here before, are not known for being particularly rational. And a lot of them still have the superiority complex of like, we should be able to attract the best players in the world. Totally agree. We need to be very, very smart in how we do things. And that's why I think Rangnick is actually a good fit, because first of all, if you look at his various projects, the
Hoffenheim.
The footprint that he's managed to put on teams like Hoffenheim, who were not a pre-established Bundesliga team by any means. They, in fact, got promoted for the first time under him. He went to Schalke, who are a big club with huge expectations, and in that short term, he did very, very well. And you know, the way that ended wasn't really ideal, but it wasn't actually through anything other than, by the sounds of it, his own personal stress, which is, you know, perhaps a warning sign for if you were to take the Milan job, because it is one that comes under a lot of scrutiny. But then there's obviously
At least.
well, yeah, you know, I'll warn him against it. And Salzburg, being part of that whole Red Bull network, the way that he's been able to spot talent and identify the players that are available for the right price, and being able to get them to buy into his way of playing. And also then to be able to pick out managers who can carry on that playing philosophy for him. Obviously, we know you got Julian Nagelsmann to Leipzig, who I think is an incredible manager.
He got Nagelsmann to Hoffenheim too, right?
Yes, yeah. Nagelsmann's like, wow, I think he was 30. I want to say he was 33 or 34 when he first started with Hoffenheim as like their manager.
Now, mate, he's 32 now.
He's 32 now, so he was in his 20s then. When
he was 28 when he started with Hoffenheim.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He fascinates me. Like, if I was to wake up tomorrow and read that, actually, you know, everything's been hidden, we've got a deal to bring Rangnick and Nagelsmann to Milan, I would just be absolutely over the moon. Because I think we'd sort of play a system and a style of play that the rest of Syria would really struggle to cope with. But, you know, even if he were to bring another one of his, who was the guy that he had at?
He's born in 1987. He's the same year as Messi.
Wow.
Wow.
And he's just like, there's something about him. Like, you don't get the impression that he's young, but when he sort of walks out there with the tracksuit on and stuff, I just think, I need him managing us one day.
Yeah.
And the way that, like, the system that he plays and the style of football that Leipzig play, you know.
Yeah, and I going back to Rangnick, I think like there aren't many managers or sporting directors in Europe, for that matter, who has that track record with finding talents, refining them and selling them on, or even making them stars. He's definitely in the how do you say, A league? A league. The highest bracket.
Yeah, and there is one. I know what we're saying, I guess, at the moment is that the way things are currently, the current situation, moving from Leipzig to Milan for a player like Timo Werner, but also like Upamecano, like Amadou Haidara, the other players from Leipzig that we've been linked with, it wouldn't be a step up. In fact, it would most likely be considered a step down. However, I guess the players at Leipzig are well aware that they're not playing for a traditional club, and actually they were brought there in the first place to make that club a lot of money and to be sold on. That's why so many have been and gone from there, and Timo Werner won't be an exception to that, and I don't think the other two that I mentioned will either. I think the difference is if Rangnick were to come here and start doing well, rather than the club's ownership turning around, I hope this is the case anyway, could be wrong, but rather than the club's ownership turning around and saying, great stuff, thank you for developing these players for 2 years, we're now going to sell them on for a nice profit, I think we'd try and make it where Milan was an end destination for these players rather than just a sort of stepping stone. Because of the tradition and because when things are going right at Milan, it's probably one of the best football clubs in the world to play for. You know, without a doubt, we're saying that as fans, but I think you look at someone like Ibrahimovic, all the players that have played for us and come out and said the best days of my career were there. You know, Kevin Prince Boateng said it, even Bakayoko, who's like on at Monaco from Chelsea, has come out and said, you know, Milan are still the team in my heart and stuff. And I just think we have that effect on players as a club.
I will never forget when Van Bommel left after 1 or 2 seasons and sat there crying because he was going to leave Milan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that speaks a lot on the impact the club has on players.
Yeah, and what we're looking at now, we're perhaps thinking of it. We're thinking of the club as this sort of damaged thing that we love so much, and saying, I don't really understand why anybody else would come here and love it as much as we do. But you know, if things start going well, and those average attendances start getting back up towards the 65, 70,000 mark, and we're competing for trophies again. Like I say, I don't think there's many better places to play football, to be honest. So that's the vision that we've got to sell to players that are coming here, you know. And it is going to be, you know, as we keep saying, a very, very interesting summer. And no matter how much money we have, really, I think there's going to be change. I think
players bought this summer be able to start playing immediately? Will they have to wait to the start of the new season?
Start of the new season. They won't open the transfer window until the current season is either cancelled or finished.
Okay.
They're on about extending it and having like one big transfer window.
But what do you guys think about if we want to sell new players, that whole like end destination thing and the atmosphere of San Siro? Do we have to have like legends like Maldini in the management to help sell that? What do you guys think?
I don't know if he has to be part of management, but like Baresi has been a club ambassador, you know, for I don't know how long.
Yeah,
I think having them in that position helps. Maldini very clearly does not want to be a club ambassador, and he wants to be on the technical team and in the management. And if they can do it, I'm all for it. I don't necessarily think that we need it, though. But it is nice to have the icons of the past there to kind of hold down what it means to play for Milan. But at some point, you got to close the door and open up a new chapter. You know, you can't hold on to it forever.
No, and as much as everyone connected with the club is so proud of what we've achieved and the trophies that we've won, we haven't won anything for a while, like anything of meaning for a while, and that's difficult to sell to players. There is a certain romance, don't get me wrong, around the whole reviving a sleeping giant thing, and you know, I think that we should let that play into our hands more. With regards to Maldini, I think the difficulty with his particular role is that it's a double-edged sword, you know, because he's a club legend, so he's putting his reputation on the line. There's a lot of figures that would be considered club legends, like the likes of Seedorf, like Inzaghi, who, you know, took up a similar role in terms of responsibility as head coaches. And I wouldn't say it tarnished their legacy by any means, but there is always that risk that things could end unceremoniously like they did with Boban.
Yeah, but Maldini did not have the best relationship with fans in general.
He didn't have a good relationship with the Curva Sud, but
you know, those are
fans, I guess you could argue.
Yeah,
it's a difficult one, and I'm reserving judgment. I think the jury's still out on Maldini. I think he probably needs another summer window to work, and we can see. But what we do know is that, you know, he was very influential in getting Theo Hernandez through the door, and we can't fault that at all. We got an interesting question, and I think it's a good time to throw it out there, from Nuraziz Octavioan. I always probably say that wrong, but Opinion on Jeffrey Moncada's scouting so far. Now, this was a guy that we managed to poach, but obviously he was at Monaco and he did a fantastic job in spotting talent there and bringing them through, and they ended up winning the league kind of unexpectedly, and all those players ended up getting sold on. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Moncada's here now, but he's the one who's supposedly has been massively behind the signings of Teo Hernandez, Ismael Benacer, and Ante Rebic. He was the one who said, go out and get them. And I would say those have probably been our 3 best players so far this season. So I agree. Pretty happy with what he's doing so far. And there was an interesting report today that said that he has recommended to Milan in the past the signing of Camavinga from Stade Rennais. Is it Stade Rennais? The teenager. He's amazing, and now they're talking about him being worth like 60 mil plus, and he recommended it before. And then there was another player that he recommended. I can't remember, but he's clearly got an eye for talent, and yeah, I would just like him to be given the tools that he needs to kind of build a squad similar to the ilk that we saw at Monaco. But of course, we're not going to have an Mbappe.
Yeah, and we were talking a bit about that when I was on the pod last time about the talents he has brought into the Primavera. I mean, he's brought in talents with high regards like Leroy Abanda and players, but so far they haven't played so much. They've been either loaned out or had troubles with injuries, but on paper they are really exciting talent as well in the Primavera.
Yeah, that's what he's meant to be particularly good at is spotting young players, and that's why I say it's no coincidence to see him here with the role and responsibility that he has. But can't fault his track record so far. A couple of question marks perhaps about Leo Duarte, but he was unlucky with his injury. And then obviously Rade Krunic, who I've been personally impressed with what we've seen so far.
I feel like Duarte also looked good in the games that he played.
Yeah, I agree.
To write him off because he got injured, I don't think it's fair. How he bounces back from his injury is going to be a big play in how that happens, because
I really see it being like another Gustavo Gomez there. He got that run of games and looked all right and then vanished. But I hope I'm wrong on that. Because
where is he now? Is he in Greece or Turkey?
I want to say he went back to
Palmeiras.
Yeah, he went back to Palmeiras.
Okay.
Or back, I don't mean back to, but he went there and on loan, and then they bought him permanently.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I guess some players perhaps leave their comfort zone a little bit too early, or we're not put into the right situation. I mean, we're kind of seeing that with Paqueta now.
I was about to ask you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we've spoken extensively about Paqueta, really. I liked hearing, because I don't have anything against him personally, I would rather see him do well here and us look like we've made a good investment. But I was happy to see him linked with Benfica, because I thought that's a move a bit closer to his comfort zone where he could rediscover himself. Mm-hmm. Also, we could get something in return like Florentino Luis, who positionally at least would be a lot better fit for us at the moment. But then there was the rumour that came out, and I do want to discuss this, that we want to sell Paqueta to raise money for Sandro Tonali.
Yeah.
Now, I've been very vocal about how much I like him. Said before the season started that I like the look of him. We'd supposedly been monitoring him. But at 18 years old in Serie B, he'd established himself as a star. He's come up to Serie A and he's looked really, really good. He's certainly got better as the season's gone on. And then Daniele Longo from Calcio Mercato has said that we're in talks with his agent. So there seems to be something in this. Just imagine Benacer.
Yeah. And he's a childhood Milanista as well. And that makes it so much sweeter if we would sign him.
Yeah, I would love it. But I also don't want to pay a ton of money for this kid who is really hyped up. Like he's looked good. Don't get me wrong, but you don't want to have another $60 million buy, and it's a bust.
No.
And I feel like the odds of us signing him would have been much bigger if we hadn't signed Benacer last summer, because they play more or less in the same position and role.
But imagine having two of them there.
Double pivot.
Yeah, and then you can have.
I
people.
just like the idea of Tonali, even though they're both obviously really, I guess you'd say, tenacious, and they're both battling midfielders. Tonali said that he doesn't like the Pirlo comparisons. He prefers the Gattuso ones because he's more of a battling kind of midfielder. But just him sat that bit deeper as a kind of deep line playmaker, and Benacer being able to do what he does and have the freedom to do that. I mean, and then just because of having them two as cover, being able to basically play whatever number 10 we want. We could go out and get, let's say, not an Ozil, but that kind of type, a luxury playmaker like a Götze or even a younger player than like Jonathan David from Genk or Ghent. I can't remember which one it is.
Ghent.
Or what about James Rodriguez?
Yeah, something like that. James.
Yeah. That felt weird saying that.
But yeah, to go out and get like a proper number 10, and then see what happens with the striker situation, whether Ibra stays. Don't really want to go over that again. And it just makes the whole team look that little bit more complete. I mean, there's obviously been all kinds of price tags thrown around for Tonali, and understandably so. He's a generational talent. But with the whole coronavirus thing, teams aren't going to be spending as much on players, but there's still... Let me just get the figures up. So with Belia and Bonaventura leaving because their contract's expiring, and Paqueta, so that we'd say 12 million from their two salaries, and then if Paqueta were to be sold, then you can perhaps add another 25 million onto that. So then you're looking at all of a sudden being very close to what the valuation might be. And we'd be able to offer him a role as a starter that he wouldn't be able to get at Juventus or Inter. Not guaranteed starter. And probably the same in the Premier League as well. Be able to play for his boyhood club, and we could say to him, look, we're on a good path here, stay with us, and then in a couple of years, see where we're at. You might be able to move on to bigger and better things if we're still failing, but if not, then you'll be so glad that you joined us. And I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting to be linked with players like this, and not, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but like unknown French players and that kind of thing. It's nice to just have names.
So, what do you guys think will happen to Kessie?
I think our stance on him has been pretty clear. I think we will sell if the right offer comes in.
I agree.
It's so much is about the balance sheets. I think we've had offers, but they've been lower than would have made us a capital gain.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like his time at the club, unless he steps up his game massively, is over.
I just think that somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody on Milan Twitter basically said that they'd spent this break rewatching all the Milan games this season, and that Frank Kessie was basically stood out as the weak link. And I think that a lot, because of how good Benacer has been since he established himself in the team, we've all just been saying, well, Kessie is all right, he can play there, but if we had someone of proper quality to stick next to Benacer, then our midfield would be dominating games.
The same thing happened last season, though, too. Kessie started the season. We're like, he's all right. Bakayoko got really good, and we're like, oh, Kessie is not really that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like it. Kessie, he's great at transporting the ball from point A to point B. He's great at winning duels on center pitch or work in a defensive zone. But offensively, man, he pretty much always takes the wrong decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so frustrating to watch.
It is, and that's what I think will, if he were to go this summer, it will be what defines his Milan career. Unfortunately, will be so good up until a point, and then it frustrates you to the extent that you think actually he wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
I think I might have the virus here. Anyway, I'll ask a couple of questions then before we wrap this one up. Conscious of time, don't want to ramble on, etc. And I didn't want to mention this because I knew we'd been asked it in a question. It's another one from Nur Aziz who says, which transfer policy would you prefer for the upcoming window? A star that has difficulties at their current club, such as Mauro Icardi. So he's someone who's been linked during the week, been described as a dream more than anything. Obviously, he will probably return to Inter at the end of the season. And his wife / agent / gobshite, Wanda Icardi, has made no secret of their desire to sort of return to and stay in Italy. Would you take Icardi if we could find a way to get it done?
Yes.
No.
No? Go on, why?
No, I have absolutely no problems with him as a player. His result speaks for itself, but just getting his mentality and his.
The problem is that you don't
wife,
sign just him; you sign her as well.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it will do more harm than good long term, in like affecting the locker room and the low wage structure when Wanda is in negotiations and stuff like that. So,
yeah, but I feel like Wanda might be able to push some people around, but she's not going to push Elliott management around.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones negotiating the contracts.
Yeah, but that's true. But they also have a very strong.
So much for me is going to be indicated by what happens with Donnarumma. You know, if we actually say, we put our foot down and say, we're not giving you another $6 million a year contract, then that's us setting a precedent and saying, look, we're prepared to live and die by this strategy to the extent that we are also willing to let one of our fan favourites go, a Primavera product, you know, one of the best in the world in his position, because we believe so strongly in this. That would set a strong precedent. But then also, if he were to become an exception and he were to sign a new deal, even with maybe with a pay rise, then that to me would then indicate that we do have the ambition to go and become competitive again, perhaps not in the long term, but in the short, medium term. And then you start thinking, okay, why do we need the players in the key positions? We probably need a centre-back then to partner Romagnoli and just to take the pressure off Gabbia. We need a centre-mid to partner Benacer. And then we might need a striker if Ibrahimovic goes. We probably need one anyway, to be honest. And then you think, well, okay, if the budget is there available because of the money that we raised in January, then actually we might have a better window than some are thinking that it's going to be.
But imagine letting Donnarumma go and then signing Icardi.
It would be a kick in the balls for him.
It would be such...
But it wouldn't happen. I mean, what I'm saying is that if we let Donnarumma go on the principle of salary, then there's no way we're signing Icardi or anyone of that kind of, name, that kind of established level.
It also reflects, obviously, this is based on what the media has said, but a lot of media say that Donnarumma wants to stay at Milan. So if we just force him out, that wouldn't reflect good on us either if we treat players who wants to stay like that.
I wonder how much of that could potentially be a media game where Raiola keeps saying to Donnarumma, keep telling the media that you love the club, and then eventually when I take you somewhere else, it doesn't look like your fault. And we'll just
that could very well be the case.
Conspiracies and all that. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Icardi would have taken... I really like him as a goal scorer, but
me too.
I agree with the risk factor. So I would rather see that money perhaps go elsewhere.
You just see how his last time in Inter was. It was a train wreck.
Yeah.
True.
I really don't.
It's funny because you had Spalletti and Icardi, who were two.
Yeah, fair enough.
Icardi, Wanda, whatever, that pairing against Spalletti and Inter, and it was like two notorious train wrecks coming together. Immovable force versus unstoppable object and all that, and eventually it ended with player power not winning for once. But yeah, I don't know.
But to answer the question, I think that I'd rather not sign a star player, but sign players who would solidify the team and overall strengthen the team instead of one star player.
I would agree with that, but I would love Icardi too.
Yeah.
Keep Ibra for another year, that's what I'd say, but I still think we also do need another striker. The Werner thing's good, I mean, imagine, but
Hard to see it happen.
Right, one more question then. Comes from @Nadir Ahmed 123. If/when we get back into the Champions League, what would be your ideal group? So, of course, you can't have more than one team from the same country. And I'm guessing because of the coefficients, etc., you might have to slightly rank it based on ability as well. But I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, obviously, I would love to see some Scandinavian team because it would be close for me to go and see an away game. So like Copenhagen, Malmö. I don't know. Rosenborg hasn't been in the Champions League for a while, I think. But some Scandinavian team.
Djurgården, would be get great. Them back in.
Oh yeah, please.
It'd be unreal. So now you're thinking picking a group would be easy to progress, or picking a group of teams that you would like to see us play against. I would say always Celtic. I want to see us beat Celtic. That'd be great, and also it's a trip that I could probably do. For the mid-range team, I would like maybe Benfica or something like that because of the Rui Costa link, and also I would like to do that as an away trip. It looks like an amazing stadium that they've got.
And an amazing city as well.
I've never been actually to Lisbon, but it does look good. And then the top level team.
We are the top level team.
All right, yeah. All right.
The disrespect.
Pick another team.
You can pick Liverpool because they're not going to be top level.
That's that is uncalled for. I will say then.
I'm used to it.
Dortmund.
Ooh, I'd like that.
Oh yeah, that would be sick.
To the best fan, I would like to see.
Us playing them.
I would like to see Red Bull Leipzig. I think that'd be a good game. Celtic, only because Oliver hates them so much that it'd be entertaining to watch Oliver if they so happen to beat us. And then third, probably a team from France.
Lyon or something.
Yeah.
Marseille. I'd like to see us play Marseille again.
Yeah. I would actually love to see the Dortmund's Jello Wall in person.
Yeah.
That
it's hard to get to Dortmund games. My buddy in Germany, we're going over there a year from August, and he was just like, it's so hard to get tickets to that stadium.
Yeah, and in Germany, in general, tickets are so cheap contra the rest of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone goes to the games.
Yeah, the whole fan culture is vastly different there, but it's great. I would like to see that.
Yeah, and it's the same here in Sweden. Like one ticket in like the Curva is like 10 euros.
Not here. Ticket to get into an NFL game, $110.
Wow.
Ticket to get into a Red Wings game, not this season, $90.
Oh.
Ticket to go to a Pistons game, $7.
Yeah. Yes, the Pistons. What's Tigers like?
Tigers, we could go to a Wednesday night game for like $10.
That's all right.
Weekend game like 30.
How are the seats then?
Good.
Good seats.
Yeah, I mean, you can get, dude. It's baseball's so different. Like you could be in the third tier behind home plate, and it's like $90.
Mm.
You could be outfield in the lower bowl, fifth row behind the bullpen, $25.
Mm.
You know, like
Worth it.
I'm not a baseball fan. I just go to sit in the sun and drink beer and
I like that.
yeah.
I like the concept of it.
It's
I like
fun.
baseball. Big baseball fan. And that stopped as well, so there's no
Yeah. Ollie and I were talking about this like in February that he was going to teach me baseball. And I was looking forward to it, but
Yeah, because we were talking about ice hockey, because obviously we're massive ice hockey fans.
yeah,
And you were saying that you'd sort of taken a bit of an interest in baseball, and I was like, I'll make it my mission to get you into it, and we don't have a season, so.
However, if you would have came over for your trip in Detroit, you'd be stuck here.
I know. I'd be crying.
I would be too.
Like, we'd be on the same screen. Yeah.
I would like leave my house.
That would have been funny.
Oh my god, that'd have been something.
I think that's a good note to end it on. I'll be totally honest. The thought of me stuck in Maddie's house.
with a good laugh.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Appreciate that, there's not really an awful lot of concrete going on at the moment, so we just kind of have to bullshit our way through these. But just keep sending in questions and stuff. I do like discussing all these different topics, as I'm sure the other lads do. But for the meantime, I've been your host, Ollie Fisher. You can find me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher or at Kilpin Chronicle for some more explicit Milan-based rants. Been joined by Madison.
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and follow me at Madison_DT.
And Maxi.
Yeah, you can go ahead and follow me at Maxi Angelo with 2 A's in Maxi. And I would also like to take this moment to thank everyone for the kind words of this Primavera series I've been doing. There has been a lot of guys and girls messaging me about liking them.
Hey,
Girls
buddy!
messaging you there, eh? Lovely stuff. Hey?
Good
The
for
missus
you.
know.
Yeah, but I really wanted to thank everyone for the support. It's been really nice to see.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and it
have
was
not
great
read
series.
them, but I will.
Read them.
For you.
Read them. I would advise everybody to read them. They're great. And also want to say, because you've just reminded me, thank you to everybody who voted for us in the Football Content Awards this year. The voting closed on March 31st, and I forgot to mention the last time that we did it, that's when it was closing. The actual ceremony has been put off because of the COVID stuff, obviously. But it will be announced at the end of this month if we've made the final cut. So thank you to everybody who voted, and fingers crossed from here, I guess. But in the meantime, thank you very much for listening, everybody, and we will catch you in a week's time.
Suso, tira Alessio, Suso, tira, perché non tiriamo? Ma perché non tiriamo? Gol! Alessio Romagnoli, gol! Alessio Romagnoli!